Howdy and welcome back to Slide Bys. Today, you're going to notice some Christmas lights back there that I promised that is relevant to where this review is going to go. So, today we're going to be talking about this old amp. This is nothing new. These have been out for a long time. This is the Fender Mustang 1 version 2. Little tiny, really, combo amplifier, 8-inch speaker. I shouldn't say tiny. It's not. I mean, it's not like the new X Mighty Light or anything like that. But you know, this is not like an extremely powerful amplifier or anything. It's like a 20. I'm going to say it's 25 watt, if I can remember correctly. I've had this thing since 2014. I want to say it is a modeling amp. As I was switching through there, I went from a clean channel. I think that was on the trim. I want to say it's the twin trim. I always love that when I'm trying to say it. But I started off there, then went to the Metal 2000, and then back to the Fender Supersonic setting. And you know, this is a really cool amplifier in a lot of ways, but it also has some things to it. So we were playing through this beautiful Squier Strat Bullet Stratocaster. This is one of those FSRs and limited edition black metallic. So it's like a black on black finish with a black metallic pickguard. It's just a gorgeous guitar. And drop C sharp, which is where I'm going to be leaving this guitar from now on, most likely, for at least another week, knowing me. Anyway, I picked this thing up years ago. I had moved into a smaller place, and I was trying to condense what I had, and I had the Vox. And after I had that Vox amp, people were moving more into just straight up digital modeling. And digital modeling, you know, 8 years ago was getting good, but still wasn't even today. You know, it's a whew, we are talking crazy good. I still don't think we're quite. I think there's things that real amps, a real physical amp in front of you does that digital doesn't quite do yet. But anyway, that's a topic for another time. But this shows its age, and you can definitely tell this versus a tube amp. And there's definitely going to be a video on that if not already up. So this versus a tube amp, you know, there's definitely some differences there, but I think this is pretty good. In fact, a lot of my earliest playing videos on this channel are actually through this amplifier before I even purchased another tube amp. So what's cool about this is that you do have, you know, several amp models, built-in effects, and you can set those. And this also, at the time of its drop, on the market, came with Ableton software, a demo of that, which I used to get into recording and learn some of that. And it also came with the Fender Fuse software, which is really cool because you go in, you could set pedals, you could turn dials and amps and pull it all up. It was really cool. I mean, it gave you a decent taste of what it was like to play with, you know, maybe like a similar idea to these higher end modeling things that everyone seems to be using these days, except for me because I'm a stickler for amps. Anyway, so let's just go ahead and move this way. You up here, excuse me, there we go. Let's take a look at this control panel. So you have your gain, volume, treble, bass, and your master control, master volume. Your presets are 57 Deluxe, 59 Bassman, 65 Twin Reverb, British 60s, British 80s, American 90s, Supersonic, and Metal 2000. Now, the orange channel in this, there's green, red, and orange. Orange is permanently set, and the only way you could edit those back when this came out was through the Fender Fuse software. Now that's not available anymore because Fender has replaced that with the newer Mustang line and a newer program. So the red and green were free to be edited at your discretion with or without that. And I did have some saved presets on there. But most of what you're hearing now is just going to be at whatever's adjusted on here. Then you have your mod, which is kind of like, let's turn my volume up on here. You get different things like chorusy effects and there's that rotary. I love the rotaries. And as you can tell, there's a volume drop when I switch channels, and you gotta redo all these. So yeah, and then over here you have your delays and reverb. It's kind of weird playing with one hand. But yeah, so that's what you got there, and of course you got the 3 different channels. You got some presets for different, I think they're kind of like song presets, kind of like the Vox did, and then you've got just kind of different variations of each amp here. So when we first started off again, we were on the Twin Reverb, and we went to the Supersonic and the Metal 2000. Metal 2000 was the second one. Supersonic was the third demo there. So let's go ahead and sit back down. All right. So what was cool about this at the time is that it gave me something lighter than the Vox, something a little bit more portable, something a little bit cheaper actually. And these days, I mean, you can pick these up fairly cheap used. Should you? That's a good question. And that's kind of where something like this is kind of in a weird spot these days, because with the way things have gone, honestly, I'm kind of leaning more towards the Fender LT25 Mustang, that I believe is what it is. I think I want to say that it's the correct designation. Or something like a Boss Katana these days, because they're just so darn good. They honestly, you could probably get away with just having something like that if you were just doing this stuff at home. Yeah, you could probably just get away with something like that for most of your needs these days. I mean, they've just gotten so dang good. But, you know, at the time, this is a beautiful amp. It was smaller, a little bit lighter, and just gave you some different digital ways of doing things. And you could plug this, you know, USB it to your computer and do just stuff that you couldn't do with the Vox Valvetronics I had. Now, I've looked at the new Valvetronics line. I actually looked today. And played on another. Every time I go to a Guitar Center, I play Boss Katana just because I love them. And I think I don't remember what all they have. I think they've got some different connectivity, but I could be wrong about that. But This was cool. It was different at the time, and it gave me some options. Now, without that program, the Fender Fuse being available, these are kind of in a weird spot for me. It's still cool. It's still handy. It's still very light, and I do still take it around to go, family members' houses or whatever to go play music, because I do like the presets that are on here. I think this, especially for like metal, that. Okay, better not do that. control my urge to play heavy music. That and gotta resist Pantera sometimes. Anyway, this thing is really cool, and I think if you can find them at a good price, they're still fun to have as just a plain amp for just home. And I think I've seen other people on like my Instagram have these who love them, and I do love it. It's not exactly, you don't quite get that tubey sound. We'll just go to something like, this is the British 60s. Fuzzy, probably drop that a little bit. I mean, it does have some cool presets on there. Obviously, you can turn some of those things on and off as long as you're on the green or red channels. I use the twin trim and the Metal 2000s a lot. It's a good sounding little amp. It's got a decent bass response. You gotta get used to it. I found actually when running this with my single coil Strat SE, you gotta really play with that bass to get it to really do what you want it to do. But it does. I mean, it does its job fine. Single coil is a little bit of a different beast than humbuckers. So why the Christmas lights, and where am I going with this? Well, many years ago, a decade and a half ago, I started off on a Squier electric guitar. This electric guitar, back here, which there's a video on that on the channel, and the Squier SP10 Strat Pack guitar amp. And you know what? I still have the amp. I still have it, but it died. It did. That's one of those scary things with lower priced amps like that, practice amps. Transistors, when they're dead often, and I didn't worry about replacing it. I still have the thing out there, but it's dead, very dead. But the guitar itself has lasted, and with we're coming up on in winter and Christmas season and everything, and I get really into Christmas anyway. But we're coming up on that, and without the gift of a guitar and the whole kit was one of the greatest gifts I have ever been given. Before that, I'd been given a bass guitar by the guy who was teaching me to play. I was going through some health stuff at the time, and that made a big difference as a bass guitar and an amp, and it just pushed me into, with my parents picking up when I was 16 an actual 6-string and an amp kit from Squier. And we're coming up on that time now where these things are, stuff like this is very flexible, very powerful. These guitars, these Squiers, I think they've never been better. And I've even played some of the newer Epiphones at Guitar Center and other guitars, and we're coming up on a time frame where you can get some decent stuff for low prices and get an entry-level gear that could last 4 years. Like that guitar is literally, there's not a single real issue with it other than the input's a little bit weird here and there. I just need to, I think, possibly change that out. But I mean, we're talking about, for me, almost 15 years of playing with that thing. It's been 14, exactly. December, that's what it is, 14 years. So yeah, I mean, that's yeah, that's one thing that might need replaced, but it's at the same time, it still works for the most part. It's just every now and then you hear a little bit of a crackle in there. It may just be dirty. Maybe I need to, anyway, but that's neither here nor there. The thing is, the gift of a guitar, the gift of an amp, and the kit, even just an acoustic guitar, if someone's passionate about it, you know, if you think you've got someone passionate in your life and you can swing something like this, it's a gift that just keeps on giving. Guitar has been there for me through so much and gotten me through so many things in my life, and yeah, I can easily say if you can get a good deal, buy these used. I don't care what the brand even at all, but stuff like this, you know, my wife, she's had her Squire and her amp were secondhand. Same kit kind of as what I had, but her dad just picked it up for her secondhand. And, you know, it's one of those things. It's a gift that just keeps on giving, and I think this is a great skill to have. It can get people through good times, bad times, and just, you know, maybe inspire. Maybe they'll go some places, big places with it. You never know. But even if not, I don't know many people that ever said I regret playing guitar. So, you know, I'm just throwing it out there for y'all. If you're, you know, in the market yourself for picking up these are, you know, Squire is just on their game. These older Fender amps, you know, you get something more powerful than your SP10 that comes in a lot of kits, but still really good. The newer Fender Mustangs are really good. The Boss Katanas are lower priced and really good. We're just coming up on that time frame where you're going to start seeing some deals. I'm just suggesting that, hey, maybe this year pick up with the guitar and jump into it, because I just don't think anyone will ever regret it, and I think there's some good prices to be had. The prices are changing for sure, and some for the worse, some for the better. It's kind of either way right now with that, but I'm just throwing out there. You know, I hope everyone has a great, you know, year, end of the year coming up, and you know, I wish you all the best, and you know, I'm just throwing it out there. Maybe make this the year that you help someone else pick up a guitar, or maybe you push yourself to pick it up. Could be one of the best decisions you've made in your life. It's been one of the most awesome things I've done. So anyway, thanks for watching Slide Bites. You know, go check out my Instagram if you're interested. There's pictures and other playing stuff on there. And yeah, keep shredding, partners. Drop a like and subscribe if you think I've earned it. And see you soon with more content. Got some cool stuff coming up. See you later. Bye.